Hello everyone, this is Shayan Siddiqui with you, an expert business and economics teacher and an international curriculum trainer for business studies. Welcome to my channel. Our today's lecture is on the basic economic problems and the lecture is going to be in English language. If you want to watch the same lecture in Urdu language, just click on this link. This link will lead you to my Urdu language video for the same topic, the basic economic problem. So without further delay, here we go! Welcome back, and this is the topic, the basic economic problem. What to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Today we are going to discuss this topic in too much depth, okay? And I will cover everything from point A to point Z. So I request you, please do not skip this lecture if you really want to understand this topic. And as always, I will first make your base. Then I will increase the pace, okay? So moving on. Couple of months flashback, I made a video on scarcity. And this was the video. Did you watch this video? If no, then I highly recommend. Please go and watch this video, because in this video I covered scarcity from point A to point Z, and if you watch this video first, then it will clarify your concepts. Okay, let's move. The basic economic problems. I have already discussed with you that the resources in this world are limited, okay, and the wants are unlimited. Because of the limited resources and unlimited wants, we have to make choices in order to allocate the available resources as efficiently as we can, or more efficiently, in order to get the maximum output of whatever we are allocating. Okay, so this is the topic actually, and if you read this paragraph, this explains the same what I explained just now. So we have to make choices whether to go for this option or go for this option. For example, if you have $100 in your pocket, okay, and you have to buy a t-shirt and a shoe as well. So what would you do? Will you spend $100 only on t-shirt or on a shoe? No. What you will do, you will utilize the available resource. And what is the available resource? The money what you have in your pocket, okay? So you will utilize it in an efficient way, so that you will see, okay, I can buy this cheap shirt and this cheap shoe, so I'll be able to have both things with me. Okay, so this is actually the topic, and I will be explaining in more depth. This question comes in exam in 3 different ways, and these are the 3 different ways, like it's rephrased. The first way, define the basic economic problem. The second one, what are the 3 basic economic questions? One of my students did not answer this question. The same question came in exam, and I asked him, why didn't you answer? He said, actually, this was not about the basic problems. It was about the 3 basic questions. I said, this is exactly the same. Okay. So, and the third rephrase of this question is, what are the fundamental economic questions? The fundamental economic questions are what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Okay. We will discuss it in further more depth. All right, now let's move on. Every society has to deal with the economic problem, and the economic problem is limited resources and unlimited wants. So it doesn't matter whether the society is small or the society is too big, but they have to deal with this problem. Okay, but the question is, who came up with this idea of the basic economic problems, or the 3 questions? This question also comes in your exam. The question is, who presented the idea of basic economic problem? If you are intermediate student, or if you are studying even BBA, sometimes this question comes in your exam. Who presented the idea of the basic economic problem? So let me explain. As always, an American scientist. He was a Nobel Prize winner, and his name was Mr. Paul Samuelson. He was the first one who presented the idea, and he said that in order to solve the economic problems, societies must deal with three basic questions. They must have to find out the answers of these three basic questions, which are here on your screen. And the basic questions are: number one, what to produce. Normally, mamas also ask us, hey, what to cook today? Tell me, what do you want to eat? Okay, so what to produce, not on individual levels only, but on economic level as well, at the country's level as well, in the macroeconomic perspective as well. Second one is how to produce whatever we are producing. How shall that be produced? And the third one is for whom to produce. Whom are we going to target? Who is our target market, and for whom we are making the products available to buy, to use, to consume, and so on. We will now be discussing all these three questions in details. So stay with me and don't skip the lecture. Moving on. What to produce? This question is not only about what to produce, but also what quantity shall be produced, because we know the economic rule: if the product is available, the too many products are available, or if the product is available in huge quantity, then there will be no scarcity of the product and the prices will go down and so on. In order to keep the prices high, we have to create the scarcity, a shortage of the product. And the same thing happens with the gold, with diamond as well. Why are they so expensive? Because they are scarce in this world. Okay, so now the question is what to produce. Now, whether we should produce capital goods or we should produce consumer goods. Now, the question in your mind is, what are the capital goods and what are the consumer goods? Fine. I'm not going to explain it now because it will take more and more time, and I don't want to make this lecture so long. I will make a separate video on consumer goods and the capital goods and some other type of goods like free goods and something like that. And I will upload that video very soon. Don't worry. Okay, now economies must also address the questions such as number of bicycles. How many number of bicycles shall be available? Like if you go to France, if you go in Europe, you will find in different countries or even in different cities automatic cycles which are actually provided by the government and different agencies and so on, so that, you know, in order to promote the healthy environment and something like that. So they calculate exactly how many number of cycles should be available for public. Okay, how much wheat should be produced, how much milk should be produced, and how much fruits and vegetables shall be produced. Now let's take an example of Pakistan. Pakistan is the biggest exporter of mangoes, and right now these are the golden days for all those who are involved in mango business there in Pakistan. So what happens when they export the mango to the whole world and the production is too much? The time comes in Pakistan every year that the fruit sellers and so on, they run after the customers and they say, hey, take this mango, take this mango. The reason is because the production of mango is immensely high, because the production of mango is too much. So when it is available everywhere, when it is available in huge quantity, the prices go down. But the time also comes at the end of the season when the fruit sellers don't even talk with you in respectful manners and they say, hey, this is the price, if you want to buy this, just buy it or leave it. Why? Because only a few mangoes are available and there is a huge demand of mango. Okay, so it's like economics concept, you know that. So how much fruits and vegetables shall be produced? This is also the question that must be addressed by the governments, even by the individuals as well. Moving on. Now I will apply the same concept on macroeconomics, giving you the example of the same country, Pakistan. Okay, if you haven't watched my video on micro versus macro, there is a link, just go and check out. I have given this link there in the description as well. You can watch it. This video will clarify many concepts, okay, about micro and macroeconomics, because very soon I'm going to start making videos on macroeconomics as well. Now let's take the example of Pakistan. Every year, whenever the government in Pakistan presents the budget, every year, I have been seeing the same thing since my childhood, that the opposition does a lot of protests against the budget, and they claim that this budget is not a public friendly budget. It is not in favor of the country, but unfortunately only a few or maybe no one uses the economic terminology, which is like, hey, there is a wrong allocation of available resources in this budget. The budget which has been allocated, this is wrong. Like you have allocated maximum available resources for that specific industry and you have totally ignored that industry. So specifically, unfortunately, what I have been observing since my childhood, that they don't discuss specifically on specific points like, okay, this is the agenda and this is how we should solve. Okay, so like some school of thoughts there, they claim that how the country or the government is allocating a lot of budget on defense. That makes sense because Pakistan is in the circumstances where they have to do it. If they don't do it, the survival will be in a questionable position. Okay, so they have to do it, and then they say, hey, you are not allocating money on education. Some school of thought, they say that the country is allocating a lot of budget on agriculture, not on industries, and industries, they are even taking back the subsidies and something. Actually, if they use economic terminologies, okay, so this is how they should speak, like, okay, the resource allocation is in this manner and that specific sector is ignored, the subsidies are being taken place or something like that. Getting my point? So what to produce, I have now discussed with you this topic in details and I applied the concept on the country Pakistan. Okay, is this clear? Moving on. Now the second question is how to produce, or how the things should be produced. Now the question is whether the things should be produced using an automated system or the things should be produced manually. How to produce them? Let me give you an example. Same country, Pakistan. If you go in the rural areas of the province of Pakistan, which is called Punjab, if you even go in the interior Sindh, you will find many people, many farmers, that they are still using old fashioned agricultural machinery and something. They are still using bulls in order to dig the land and something like that. So on and off, for example, when the Prime Minister of Pakistan or any official, they visit China, so they ask China to support them in technological areas. So China is always ready to support. Like they ask them for the machinery so that they can utilize that machinery in agricultural sector and the production can be increased. Are you all getting my point? So the question is how to produce, whether to produce these things using the traditional and the old manual procedures or the processes, or utilize or use automated systems in order to produce these things, such as the daily products, shoes, clothes, agricultural goods, and something like that. And how to produce also answers the question is how the factors of production shall be utilized. Now you'll be thinking, hey, what are called factors of production? Don't worry. Very soon I'm going to upload the video on factors of production. Okay. Now, how to produce also answers the question of how the land, labor, and capital shall be utilized for the production of goods. Getting my point? Are you getting it? How these things shall be utilized or used in order to produce something. Whether all the labor shall be utilized at one place or in specific areas, or the labor should be distributed equally for the production of different products. Getting it? Just I'm trying to build your concept, okay? Okay, moving on. The third and the last question, for whom to produce? For whom the things should be produced? Who is the target market? which segment of market you as an individual is targeting, or the government is producing the goods and for whom they are making them available. Whether the things are available only for the rich class who can easily afford it, or the product will be easily accessible, such as COVID-19's vaccine. Okay, governments are investing huge amount on that and they're making the things available for everyone. Okay, and second last thing is for whom to produce, like how the national income shall be distributed. Another name of national income is total income. How the total income or the national income shall be distributed among the country. Okay, for whom to produce also answers this question: how the national income shall be distributed and for whom the products should be available. It also answers one more question, and that question is how to set the salary scales in the country. For example, how much a policeman will get, how much a doctor will be paid, how much a nurse will be paid, and how much a teacher will be paid. Okay, in every country. So basically, for whom to produce? Okay, among whom are you distributing your national income? Getting my point? And how are you distributing the national income? Who should be paid? How much? Okay, all right, moving on. Let's move over the wrap up of this lesson. What did we learn today? We learned the basic economic problem answers three questions. What to produce? We must know what should be produced, in how much quantity something shall be produced. How to produce, whether we shall use manual processes or an automated system to produce something. Are you getting my point? And how the factors of production such as land, labor, capital and enterprise shall be utilized in order to produce something. And the last one is for whom to produce, who is my target market, or which segment of the market am I producing something for. This was my lecture on the basic economic problem. I hope you have understood today's topic, the basic economic problem. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I request you to please do so. If you have already subscribed to it, thank you so much, but please refer my channel to others so that they can also benefit from my lectures. Thank you so much for watching.